What's going on, guys? Bengal again here, coming back at you with another video. And today, not only am I in my new setup, moved into the living room, we got some pretty big news out of the NFC West and AFC East, as Jamal Adams, star safety of the New York Jets, has been traded to the Seattle Seahawks. Hit that subscribe button if you guys are new. It would mean the world to me. On the path to 200,000 subscribers. Please hit the subscribe button if you are not already. And let's go ahead and break down some of this trade. So this is via Ian Rappaport on Twitter. I'm sure many of you are familiar with him. And I hate the way that Ian Rappaport phrased the trade details. Now, I'm going to say exactly the way he phrased it, and then I'm going to say what the actual trade details are. So Ian Rappaport says, a massive haul for the hashtag Jets. Star safety Jamal Adams goes to the hashtag Seahawks, along with a 4th rounder in 2022, and it's a 1st rounder. A 3rd and another 1st in 2022 to NYJ, and safety Bradley McDougal. Crazy. I hate the way that's phrased. The fact that he's going to say Jamal Adams to the Seahawks, along with a 4th rounder in 2022, and it's a 1st rounder, comma, a 3rd and another 1st in 2022 to NYJ. Like, he doesn't make it clear when these picks are, although it's assumed that some of those in the middle of both bracketed 2022s are 2021 first-round picks in the next year's class. You don't know who's trading what. Jamal Adams to the Seahawks, along with a 4th rounder in 2022, and it's a 1st rounder. Like, I know, he's using the ellipses to separate all that. That's not how that's supposed to be used. It's terrible. I know that's a weird rant point. I got to get mad about something, clearly. That's just kind of my brand at this point. But the actual details are this trade broken down on Seahawks.com in a far, at least outside of my stupid brain, far more easily understood. Seahawks are sending to the Jets a 1st and 3rd in next year's draft, a 1st rounder in 2022, and safety Bradley McDougal. So that's what the Seahawks are trading. 2 1sts, 1 this year, 1 next year, a 3rd, and Bradley McDougal, who we'll talk about in a bit. The Jets are sending a 2022 4th round pick to Seattle, and Jamal Adams. Of course, all this will be pending physicals from McDougal and Adams. Now, my first thought on this is that the Jets have fleeced the Seahawks. I know that seems like kind of I don't know. It's so weird with the NFL. This is so far from baseball, where like draft picks are huge question marks. In the NFL, they are still question marks, but less so. A lot of these guys are going to be able to make an impact immediately and do so at a pretty high level because, based on, college football nowadays, players are playing at such a high level, and some of these guys can really come in and take over the NFL. We've seen it, very recently with a bunch of these players, specifically some of these pass rushers that have come in and been so dominant. But Jamal Adams is one of the top 2 or 3 safeties in the NFL. I know a lot of people think he is the best. My thought on this is, even though, and I don't want to use the term overrated because people are going to think that means I think he's bad. You're like, oh, you're so stupid. Jamal Adams is not overrated. He's unbelievable. And you're right. Jamal Adams is an unbelievable player. He is so good. But people overrate his ability as a safety because of his pass rushing ability. That's the least valuable trait a safety can have, with the most valuable trait, in my opinion, being coverage skills. Tackling super important as well, being able to, come up in the run game, make plays near the line of scrimmage. These things are extremely valuable. Don't get me wrong. But coverage skills are the most important, and he's not the best cover safety in the NFL. Now, is he maybe the best blend of all these skills? Now you have a conversation there, but to me, Harrison Smith is a better cover safety and tackles just as well and can make plays near the line of scrimmage like Jamal Adams does. Maybe isn't the pure blitzer that Jamal Adams has been for the Jets, but I don't care about sacks when you're talking about a safety. Like, he's only getting sacks because the Jets have no actual talent coming off the edge, no interior pass rush whatsoever, even with Quinn Williams. We'll have to see what he can develop into. But, I mean, they've had no edge rushers since the time Jamal Adams has been there. They have nothing coming off the edge whatsoever. So Jamal Adams, in blitzes, he's going to be able to make more plays on the QB because no one else is getting in there because they're just stuck on blocks because that's what the Jets' pass rushers have been. Jamal Adams is a great player, but, he's not without question, the best safety in the league because he's a good blitzer, right? So I think the Jets have done so well here to wait for their specific trade detail or trade package that they were looking for. The perfect package, you could say. That's not a Manscaped video, but yeah, I mean, the Jets have done so well here. 2 first-round picks, a third and a fourth, or no, just a third. So it's 2 firsts, a third, and Bradley McDougal. Like, that's so nice. Bradley McDougal is one of the top 20 safeties in the NFL, which at first glance doesn't sound like it's incredible, but when you look at it this way, there are usually 2 starting safeties for each NFL team. You know, some play over the top. You could take maybe the second safety as a linebacker, maybe a money backers in there in their base package. But usually, we'll say in a base defense, 2 starting safeties, 64 in the entire league as far as starting safeties goes. Top 20 is pretty good. Top 20 is pretty good, and Bradley McDougal is certainly better than average. I think he's a really solid player, and this gives the Jets a lot of flexibility. I think Marcus May probably moves over to that more traditional strong side spot. He's, you know, like borderline top 20. We don't know. It's still early on in his career. I'm not ready to say that he's top 20 yet. I know that seems like a little bit crazy, but I don't know. Marcus May just hasn't played at that level for me just yet when there are so many other good safeties in the league. The league's as talented and deep as it ever has been, in my opinion. I mean, you look at some of the top receivers in the league, no one can really rank these guys because of how talented each of these guys are. You could ask a different person on the street who their favorite receiver is, who they think the best receiver in the league is. Somebody's going to tell you Michael Thomas, somebody's going to tell you Julio Jones, somebody's going to tell you DeAndre Hopkins. When Antonio Brown was playing, he was in that conversation. When Odell is healthy, he's in that conversation. When Devontae Adams is healthy, he's in that conversation. You know, Keenan Allen, Tyreek Hill, even to some guys, is probably the best receiver in the league. It's just such a deep league now, and that is certainly true at the safety position as well. So I'm not ready to say Marcus May is top 20. I think Bradley McDougal probably is, and he's one of the more underrated guys in the league. He's a really talented player. The Jets also drafted Ashton Davis out of Cal. He's someone that tackles real well, but also can play over the top at a very solid level. But he's a rookie. We don't know what we're getting with him just yet in the NFL. So a little bit of a question mark. Not a bad idea to go out and get another safety, and that's exactly what they did here. I think the Jets have won this trade massively. Massively. Now, the Seahawks are getting an established star, a very, very good player in the back end of that defense. Of course, the Legion of Boom completely, went away as players got older and moved teams. Richard Sherman's been on the Niners now for a couple seasons. Earl Thomas has been on the Ravens for a couple seasons. Cam Chancellor retired pretty much due to injury. Byron Maxwell's gone. Brandon Browner's gone. Whole bunch of new faces in there. I mean, you have Shaquille Griffin, who's been a decent corner for them. A little bit on and off, wishy-washy at times, but overall is a good player, I think you could say, fairly safely. Trey Flowers has been a solid corner for the Seahawks as well. So they've definitely got some good players on that defense, but the defense is the weak point of the team. Jamal Adams going to come in there, probably change up the culture a little bit. The addition of a superstar like that is bound to do that a little bit in terms of the energy that he brings, in terms of the talent that he brings to that defense. So Jamal Adams is extremely valuable and a great pickup for this Seahawks team, but I'm not sure that trading 2 first-round picks, a very solid safety, and a third-round pick in 2020 or in 2021, I just don't think that's the value. I don't think that makes any sense to move for a safety. It's one of the least valuable positions on defense, and that's not to say that it doesn't matter, because an elite safety is going to be an elite player and valuable to a defense. But is it more valuable than an edge rusher? No. Is it more valuable than a corner? No. Is it more valuable than an inside linebacker? Probably not. So, I mean, he's a really good player, a really good addition to this team, but probably not worth the value that the Seahawks had to trade in order to get him. I think the Jets have done very, very well here. And although I don't want to say I've hated on the Jets in the past, but the Jets have been a very, very, very bad team. And for some reason, I say that Jets are like, what do you mean? We started 1-7, but we finished out the season real strong. Yeah, but you started 1-7. When's the last time the Jets have won more than 8 games in a season? I mean, the Jets have been bad. Just accept it. I'm a Giants fan. The Giants have sucked. The Giants still suck. The teams are allowed to be bad. You don't have just because your favorite team's bad doesn't mean you have to defend them. Doesn't mean you're a bad fan if you say your team's bad. It's objectively true in a lot of senses. But the Jets are shaping up to be a pretty good team here for the future if they capitalize on some of these picks. And yeah, those are huge ifs. But when you look at it this way, The Jets have drafted maybe their future franchise left tackle. Denzel Mims could be a very solid player for the Jets in the future. Maybe if Sam Darnold actually has time and some more weapons, the Jets could have a decent offense going. Jamison Crowder, who knows if Le'Veon Bell's going to bounce back. They still have a lot of holes on defense. I think Bradley McDougal is a very good addition to this team, though. The Jets are in a pretty good spot. If Bryce Hall is healthy and is the player that we thought he was going to be this past year at Virginia, Bryce Hall is going to be a plus corner in the league. Bryce Hall is a pretty good player, and they already have Brian Poole, who's one of the better slot corners in the NFL. The Jets have some good players. They still have nothing on the edge. They still have a lot of holes, but when you say they have 2 first-round picks in 2021, a second-round pick, 2 thirds, and then in 2022 they have 2 first-round picks again, you're looking at a 2022 or 2023 Jets team that could actually be pretty good. Now, I'm not sure that they're 2 or 3 years out, but when you look about how long it might take a quarterback to develop in the league, quarterbacks' primes are usually about 29 to 33 in that range in the NFL. You might have something there with the Jets. So with the Patriots going downhill probably in the next 3 or 4 seasons, just based on the law of averages, no more Tom Brady. Who knows what Belichick's going to be up to in the next 3 or 4 years. But the Bills are on the rise. The Dolphins could be on the rise. The AFC East could be a very exciting division. So I think the Jets have won this trade on paper. The Seahawks are definitely getting the better player out of it. The 2 first-round picks for the Jets could turn into just, being bust, terrible players. The 3rd-round pick might not be a player that even ends up making the team in 2 or 3 years after he's drafted. So a lot of question marks. When you look at it just from a player-to-player basis, you're getting a Jamal Adams who's about a 9.5 out of 10. I think Bradley McDougal is like a 7.5 or 8 out of 10. Like, he's a solid player, but just not to the level of a Jamal Adams. McDougal's really good. So I think the Jets have won this trade, at least on paper. We'll have to see what happens. Again, it's hard to say that, though, because the Seahawks are getting such a good player, and you never know what's going to happen with those first-round picks. They draft better in the later rounds anyway. The Seahawks do traditionally. But that is going to do it for this video, guys. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. I would love that so much on the path to 200,000 subscribers. And I will see you in the next one. Take it easy.